Hey everybody, you're listening to the Alec LaCasse Show, a show where I interview experts in everything from wood carving to business in order to dissect their daily practices, routines, and mindsets. And today we've got the master Russian-American carver, Alexander Grabovetskiy. He is an expert in achieving these stunning, airy relief portraits that are reminiscent of one of the greatest carvers in history, Grinling Gibbons. He has also won Editor's Choice, with woodworking excellence in categories of turning carving by Popular Woodworking Magazine. His awards are numerous and his skills are even more numerous. And he has a wood carving school as well, if you're interested in checking that out, and we can talk more about it. But today he's joining us and he's even going to be doing a little carving, which we appreciate. How's it going, Alex?
I'm doing wonderful. Nice to meet you, Alec.
Good.
So
Beautiful.
thank you for the good introduction.
Absolutely. So Alex, tell me, what are you working on?
Well, I can show. That is a Venetian style wood carving. Okay, Venetian, I'm talking about Italian, 15th, 16th century. Okay, and that is just the one of the elements of big room. Okay, so that is my project, and I gotta get it done really quick.
Is it a commission?
Yes, it is. I work 100% commissions.
Wow, beautiful. We'll keep carving. Don't let me stop you.
Okay.
So this is going to be a treat that we can, for folks who are viewing, watching on YouTube, you can actually see Alex working on a commission project, and it's pretty awesome. So definitely a benefit to going on YouTube and checking that out if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, etc. So Alex, reading online, you were actually taught the kind of basic techniques of wood carving as a young child at age of 6.
That is correct. Well, my history goes before probably. My great-great-greatfather, he was a really famous woodworker. And, he was working in the palaces, in the Russian Empire palaces. Okay. I'm guessing that.
You're getting a little feedback.
Yeah. And I guess I got that in my blood. My grandfather gave me first chisel, and I started at the age of 6. So that is my history.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And so when you started, when did it become an idea in your head to do it for a living? Because, most people, they have passions and, maybe they have skills that have been handed down to them. For instance, my dad was a woodworker as a hobbyist, and his father before him also a hobbyist. But what propelled you to try and make a living with this?
Right. Okay. So pretty much my first education wasn't wood carver. Okay. Yes, I was carving six years old, but it wasn't my choice of profession, let's say. I love wood, don't get me wrong, but I didn't think it's going to become my source of income. But I am Christian, and I was in jail. I grew up in Russia. It's actually not Russia, but USSR. When I was, born in Russia, it was part of USSR. And I got in jail for my beliefs and so on. And I had to survive. And my wood carving skills, they helped me to survive, in that time of, I don't know how to say, while I was in jail. A lot of people actually died during that time. They got the same time with me in jail, but they couldn't. But now it helped me to survive. I was carving small boxes, like a jewelry boxes and so on at the beginning, and administration would sell it. And I would get just one potato a day. So it was my wages. Okay, so that's how I was paid. Pretty much just survival. When I got out of jail, the Soviet Union broke apart, and I couldn't find any job. I mean, it was hard for just the common people who didn't go to jail, but for me, after the jail, it was even harder. So nobody would like to, I mean, would employ me. Okay, so and I had to start my own business pretty much, and I started carving wood for really rich. We call them New Russians. Okay, New Russians. It's actually after Soviet Union broke apart, they got all the money. I don't know what the ways they
let me
used.
pause
I
you.
think
Let
I
me
guess
pause
they
you right
just
there,
stole
Alex.
the money
Let
from
me
common
pause you for
people.
just.
I mean, you know them as mafia guys. All
Yeah.
right. So and then I escaped Russia. Let me take this out again.
You're fine. Can you move? Yeah, you're good. Yeah, can move. Yeah, move it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because you know, hold on. Let me try. Maybe there's not going to be echo. Let me try to turn this off.
Sure.
We'll see.
Thanks.
Try
Yeah,
to
we've got
turn
an
this
echo
off.
there.
Say something.
Can you hear me?
Say
Check,
something,
check.
and I
Hey, can you
wanna
hear
make
me?
sure there's no echo.
1, 2, 3. Any echo in there at all?
I can't hear you.
Not too bad. Check,
Sorry.
check. Hey, hey, hey. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Check, check, check. Can you hear me?
You here.
Hmm.
I'm talking about. I hear myself with a delay, and it's kind of hard. Let me just get just one ear, and I'm
There you
gonna
go.
listen to one and just talk. Okay.
There you go.
But anyway, so then I escaped Russia, and I came to United States, and that was hard to find a good job anyway. So I had to start my own business, not only wood carving, but I did all type of woodworking, cabinets and trim work and so on, whatever's the wood. Okay, so that is how I got in wood carving full time.
Wow. So what was that? How long were you in? Was it a jail of sorts?
It was a jail. It was more than jail. It was a jail at the beginning. Then they transferred me to prison.
Really?
Yes. It was,
Wow.
There's a different levels of, just security. So what I'm talking about, there's for common criminals, robbers, and whoever stole something. Then there's a high security, and then another one is the lifespan and death penalty. Okay, so I was in the middle. So my statute, it was from 15 years, 7 to 15, 15 to death penalty. Okay, so I was like a traitor.
Wow. Now we're getting a little bit of feedback from your headset. I think I can hear what you're talking about. That feedback that you're getting.
Right.
Now we don't have it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's gone.
I don't know why it's
it's better.
But
That's good. It fixed itself. Beautiful. Anyway, so as you were saying before we had the technical difficulty, you said it was worse than prison, this SSR, basically camp of sorts. So you were sentenced to a certain amount of time then as a result of being a traitor?
Yes. Like I said, we call it stature, how they judge, okay? And my stature was from 7 to 15 years.
Wow.
Okay. And I could stay there for a long time, as long they wish, okay? Yeah. But during I was in jail, Soviet Union broke apart. And there was an amnesty, and I got out. Okay, so after a couple of years, 2 years actually, pretty much I stayed.
So you were there for 2 years?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What was that like being in there? Was it Like a jail of I can't relate. What was that like?
Okay, all right. That's hard to explain.
Hmm.
You know, I was watching movie just about a couple months ago
Mhm.
about, in almost in every movie, you will find some bad Russians, okay? And they would show like a Russian jail, and that they would serve different types of food with the plate and so on. But I said, you probably have to ask people who've been in jail in Russia. There's no plates, okay? So pretty much the food, it's only once a day. And in my case, just because I was wood carver, I was able to get one potato a day, and I would share it with other inmates, okay?
What?
But it was the
One
only,
potato a day?
yes, but that was the best because rest of the people didn't have it, okay?
Oh my God.
So
So you were lucky to
it's
have
not like what you see. It's much worse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was the potato like whole, like a baked potato sort of a thing?
Oh no. I wish. No, you have to go to a kitchen and just to choose just a small. I mean, we didn't have a huge ones, just a small one, like potato. That's it. And we would just cook it in the water, boil it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. We share it with
Wow.
other people.
Unbelievable. What a life. So you come back to the States after gaining amnesty?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's right. I just applied for the refugee status,
Mhm.
and I got that in 2 hours.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So this was how long after you came out of prison?
We applied pretty much the same time, but
Yeah.
it took about a year or so to get out to Russia.
Okay. Did you have family come with you?
Yes, my wife.
Oh, your wife.
And my son, he was 10 months old.
Wow.
Mhm. Yep.
Wow. Unbelievable. How do you sharpen your tools? I'm watching you carve as we're doing this, and I have to know. I saw you use a work sharp over there. I love that thing. Do you like that tool?
I love it. Okay, what you're talking about is this machine. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not only that, but you can see I've got multiple. I've got Koch from Germany. I've got
Mhm.
Worksharp. I've
Mhm.
got ProTech. I've got Tormac, and
Wow.
I've got the multiple stones, and that's the way I sharpen. But my go-to tool is absolutely Worksharp.
Yeah.
Okay, so because it's a flat surface.
Yeah.
And that's actually the big deal for me to get that flat surface. I don't like, just the inner concaves on a bevel because it's just the weakens the edge.
Yep. Yep.
That's the way to go. I mean, that's what I think.
I
That's the way
agree.
to go.
I totally agree. And so when you sharpen, you're going for the work sharp. And do you finish with your polishing tools, or do you just finish with the strop built in? For those of you who are wondering what a strop is, it's just a piece of leather that you put a polishing compound on, and you rub your tool across that, and then it gives you a final polished edge. It makes the edge of the tool look shiny. But Alex, so then do you use the polishing tool on your work sharp, or do you
I'll show it
prefer?
to you.
Sure.
Okay. I'll show it to you what I use. Right there's a wheel
Yeah.
from my work
Yep.
sharp,
Mhm.
and that's a leather applied right on top of it. Okay.
Right.
So I've got the leather and I've got felt. And the leather, I use green paste to charge it.
Uh-huh.
And felt, I use a blue paste
Really?
by Koch. Yes. And that just gives me absolutely the sharpest edge.
Wow.
But it's not every day what I do.
Right.
Okay. Every day, let me try to show it to you, this guy right here. So that is a product from England. It's called mirror paste. And what it is, it's actually for polishing mirrors. Okay.
What?
So it's just a paste like it sounds. Okay. And what you do, just to take a piece of leather, just a normal leather. I mean, it doesn't have to be fancy, stuff. And you use that, and that's better than any green paste or blue paste or yellow paste or red paste. It's just much better. See, it just becomes black right away. I mean, I'm not sure if you see that or not.
Now I can. Wow.
But it just give me absolutely the, see that?
That's amazing.
It just gives me the, like a mirror polish.
Wow.
And it's actually used for the mirrors. So that's the little secret I have to give you.
So they use this polish to make the sort of the polished side of a mirror.
Yes.
This is like the old-fashioned way, probably, making mirrors.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah.
But woodworkers, they buy that. But take a look.
Look at that. I've never seen a polished edge.
Yep. So that is the polished edge. I just did that in a couple seconds.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I can prove it to you. It's a super sharp. I don't need to even force my tool. I can just hold it by fingers.
Yeah.
And that's already shaving. See that?
Wow.
Hold on, let me get a bigger picture.
Yeah.
See, absolutely no pressure. And that's already carving.
Unreal. He's barely pushing on it for those of you listening. And the product is called Mirror Paste by Trend, Trend.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Mirror Paste by Trend. It's
so you
expensive. It's not that cheap.
Have you ever applied that to your work Sharp?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah.
But the problem with that, why I like, for example, Koch brand from Germany, because it's more solid. Let me show it to you. Hold on. So that is a blue paste. Okay. And what I like about it, it's a really solid. Okay. It's a really solid paste. And you apply that on any buffing machine or whatever, the work Sharp in my case, and that doesn't create the mess. Okay. But when you apply paste, let's say, even this one, so it's just gonna fly all over. Okay, so that's why I don't like to use that machine. Okay, and it doesn't have to be, because it, just the leather, it works fine, no problem.
Right.
Okay, hope it answers.
That does. Thank you. One thing I've noticed about you is you go so far as to design your work in CAD, three-dimensional. Do you do that with most projects or all your projects? I don't know very many people. I know David Esterly used to do that. He would go in and create renderings for his pieces. I guess you have so much complexity, you kind of have to keep track of it all somehow.
Well, a little different from David Esterly.
Yeah.
Okay. David Esterly, I knew him.
Oh, wow.
He used just Microsoft Illustrator, not Microsoft, but whatever, the Illustrator.
Yeah, Illustrator.
Yes. And he just used the layers. Okay. When I create my design, I go to full 3D programs. Okay. Rhino, Blender, and even SketchUp. Okay. But SketchUp, you can't do too much. So Rhino, you can. And if you know a little bit about 3D design, hold on, let me get rid of it. So it's actually, the Blender is a mesh based, and Rhino is NURB based. It's more like mathematics. So, and I blend them together, two programs, when I'm designing huge rooms. Okay, and it just gives me nice results. And it's not just for me, it's actually for customers mostly. But when I'm doing a small piece, I don't use any 3D programs. So I'm just using, whatever, the paper, or even just the block of wood.
Right. So in this case, you didn't have to go and make this up in a CAD program. In
this case, I did.
You did.
I did, because it's big. You don't see that thing.
Right.
Let me try to rotate that. maybe you'll see it a little more. But see,
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it's
Oh my gosh.
somewhere.
Oh wow. Oh my goodness, Alex,
You
that's
don't see
crazy.
that the whole thing yet. But
Wow.
let me pull my workbench, and it's heavy, about 300 pounds.
Wow. So this is a big architectural piece.
That is just the one part of a room, just the one side, and you don't see the whole thing yet.
Right. Can't see the bottom
Hold
of it,
on.
but
Hold on, just a second.
Mhm.
It's actually the top, what you don't see.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
There's
That's
feathers.
crazy.
Let me get that back.
Unbelievable. So how do you get the major shapes in place with, when you start a piece like this? Do you use power? What do you do to rough things in?
Well, that is what I use.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And I've got some videos on my school,
Yeah.
when I'm using that huge baby.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a 3 inches.
Oh my gosh.
And I can do much better and much faster work with that thing than anything else,
Mm.
than any machine.
You can control it, right?
Yeah, I can even do this carving with that one.
Mm.
Even at that one, I'm working on, part of it is done by this.
Wow.
The huge one. Okay.
How long does it take to make something like that, that particular piece?
That one, if it's just a full time, without filming, recording,
Right.
a couple weeks.
That's it.
A couple weeks, 3 weeks. It all depends.
Wow.
But something like that.
That's fast.
Yeah. Well, I have to.
Yeah.
It's bread and butter.
Right. That's your living.
Yep.
That's amazing. Did you know Patrick Burke, or do you know him? You heard of him?
Yes, I heard of him. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's someone who I was just made aware of, who kind of carves in this in the style of this architectural stuff, and I've not really been exposed to it all that much. To this extent, to the extent that you do it, it's totally amazing. Where you get your ideas from in terms of does the commissioner come to you and say they like a particular piece that you've done, they want something similar, or do they say, hey, here's the space and here's the idea, come up with what you want?
Well, it all depends on the client.
Right.
Okay. Let me explain about this client.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, let me check if I have other pictures I can show it to you. Mm-hmm. Hold on just a second. If you want to see some pictures.
For sure. Please.
Hold on. Can you see some of it?
I can't see it right now. No.
You can see that. And how come?
We're still on the wood carving in the same frame.
Yeah, we are, but I don't know why. Because I do have a 3D rendering also, that project. Let me check if I'll be able to. Can you see some?
No, not yet.
All right, no problem. But anyway, so let me explain about this project. Okay, that is really interesting. I think it's interesting. First of all, most of my clients, they're really, really high-end clients. Okay, we're talking about high of the highest end.
Right.
Okay, so we're not talking about just high-end percentage of the population, but we're talking just a few people, the richest on planet Earth. Okay, those are my clients. And for example, this project, you can imagine they have the best architects in the world. It's not just PhD level, not PhD level, what I'm saying. It's a lot higher. They know every detail in the history. Okay, and they send to multiple wood carvers, they all masters, the idea what they want to get. They said it has to be Venice, Italy, end of 15th, beginning of 16th century. Okay.
Wow.
And what does it mean? So you really have to research, and I had to research really, really deeply. You have to understand, people didn't travel back then town to town. Okay, they stayed in one place. I'm talking about people of craft. When they were working on certain detail, they would just do the same detail on the next project, and they developed their own style. In Venice in 15th century and 16th century, end of 15th, beginning of 16th century, there was only one shop and only one master wood carver. And he developed his own unique style, okay? It wasn't the same like in Rome. It wasn't the same like, you know, in different towns in Italy. It was just a particularly Venetian style, how you do the acanthus and so on, okay? And I had to go in history and research and understand. Not only understand the design, but what tools did they use? For example, I couldn't use some of the tools which is available to modern wood carvers, and I have them all pretty much. I had to use exactly the same tools what they used in Venice 15th, 16th century, okay?
Wow.
And design and the movements and the ideas. And I had to absolutely, like this project took me a long time to even draw, okay? And
Right.
if you're part of my school, or some of you people part of my school, you'll see how I work on that project day by day. So because I'm filming pretty much the whole process and explaining what I'm doing, why I'm doing, and that is only one part, but there's a much bigger parts. I don't know why it doesn't show today, you know. I hoped it's going to show, but it doesn't for some reason. But that's about this project. Some other projects, they would call me and just say, hey, I like sunflowers. Okay, be free. And I just designed, that's it. And I like flowers.
Right.
And then, yes,
Right.
I'll just do flowers. All right.
Yeah.
Something like that. Let
Would
me
you
try to show to you one more time.
Sure.
For some reason, it just... Oh, I'm sorry. Can you see anything? No, you don't. But you should. Oh, I know why. Just a second, okay?
Sure.
I know why. I'm gonna just change my video source. Here you go.
Oh, wow. There it is. Oh,
so
my
now
gosh.
you can see it. And I can show you some of the pictures.
Looking at a beautiful floral carved piece that has so much dimension to it. It's just hard to believe that this was carved. Oh my gosh.
There's some different perspectives.
Wow.
And I'm glad you see it. And it's only flowers at what I'm showing to you. But I'm not carving only flowers. Okay. Oh, by the way, that is just one of the part of this project.
Wow.
It's huge. It's about 10 feet long.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? It's just one part of the same project. Okay. But I also like to carve, you know, anything pretty much. Those are lines.
Those are beautiful. I've seen those.
You did? Okay.
I love those.
And that's how I carved them.
Oh my gosh.
And another picture from the same project I'm working on, just a different part. Okay. And maybe I can show you those sunflowers. I just mentioned them. That's pretty much it.
Unreal.
And yes, I'm carving pretty much all life. You can see I'm younger right here, much younger.
Right.
But
how many years have you been carving?
Well, pretty much all my life.
Right.
I mean,
right.
6 years old.
That's a
So
long time.
I'm 48.
Yeah.
So
So there you go.
figure this out. 40
42
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of
Wow.
course, not all those years
Yeah.
professionally.
Sure.
I was apprentice also of a master wood carver when I was 16 years old.
Oh,
He
wow.
took me, under his wing.
Would you rather have the commissions where people say, this is from, the 15th century, and these are the themes we need Venetian and pull all of these, forms into it? Would you rather have that, or would you rather have someone, go, I like sunflowers, and just just give you the freedom to put it all together the way you want to?
I like both.
Yeah.
I have no problem with sunflowers. I love them.
Yeah.
And I like to be really accurate to history. And I also like my own designs.
Right.
Okay. What you saw 2012, I won like a best wood carver in the world. It was my own design. It's actually this one.
Wow.
Let me show that.
Yeah, can we see that?
Yep, just a second. This one right here.
Oh my gosh.
See how young I was? I mean, my face is right there.
There you go.
And, that is the piece. I also, 2015, I won for this piece, which you mentioned. But if you look closer. All right. And let me show you a little closer. That is the flowers you saw.
Right.
From the
How on earth are you? Is that meant? Is each petal a separate piece of wood?
No, it's not. No, and I'm teaching actually.
Yeah.
What's going on? Why do you see? Oh, you see wrong camera. Okay. So like even right here, okay, I've got multiple flowers.
Right.
Right there's the flowers. Okay, let me show you a little. Can you see them? Some of them. No, it's done from solid piece. It's just a solid piece, and I carved that. Okay. That's the fun part.
Right. How do you freaking undercut without chipping these things out? I mean, you must have so many, you must have the right tools to get in these narrow paths without prying at all, right? Because that's the enemy of such delicacy, right? Is you get the tool in and then you try to get a chunk out and you could just flake things right. Do things flake off pretty often for you, or not very much?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
What I use, it's a back bends.
Yeah.
It's a specialty tool.
Yeah.
Bends it backward.
Right.
And with that tool, I can get as deep as I wanted to.
Right.
Okay. Like right there is about 3/4 of an inch.
Wow.
Just underneath. Okay. And I can get all the way through and with no problem. And right here, see that?
Wow.
It's just too much stuff.
Yeah. He's inserting the tool right underneath a leaf. There's so much depth.
Yep. Right there.
Right.
Wow. And yes, I mean, the more tools you have, more ability, I guess. Not ability, but more you can do. Yeah, better it is. So I hope it helps.
It does. Just fun to watch you carve. I'm glad that you have this project to finish up.
Yeah, but this is only one part.
Yeah.
And I have to do another side, exactly the same thing. This part goes on one side and there's going to be another side. There's more than that.
Oh my gosh. Do they usually have strict deadlines?
Yes, they do. Unfortunately.
When is this one due?
Well, you're not going to believe, but it's end of April.
What?
Yep.
You have another one to do by the end of April?
Yeah, but I doubt. Not only that, I have to do more than that.
Oh my
A lot of
gosh.
stuff to do yet.
Yeah, there's just, how do you balance these commissions in the school and teaching? And do you have a schedule? Do you apply to yourself? Do you come out at a certain time in the shop and work, or how do you get
Well,
it all done?
I'm working every day,
Right.
pretty much like since 6 a.m. and all the way. Okay.
Uh,
But my school is a little different from what other people do.
mm,
Let me try to explain.
mm,
Yes, I call it school, but it's actually not even school. It's more like a virtual apprenticeship.
mm,
Okay, I'm working on a real projects and I'm filming, and you can see I can switch my cameras right on the fly.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
so absolutely no problem, just in a seconds.
mm,
So I don't need to edit anything,
mm,
and I film many hours daily.
mm,
Okay, and then I chop at the end of the week,
mm,
the chunks, just the segments, and I
mm,
place that on my school site. Real
mm,
projects,
mm.
real carving. It's not just like hobby level. Okay,
Right.
uh, and people, they watching what I do, and I explain while I'm carving why I'm taking the tool, what I'm using, and why I'm using that tool, how I'm using that tool, why is that tool important, and so on. And they learn from the real thing, just
Mm,
like old days in Europe
mm.
when they had apprentices and so on.
Right.
That is my school.
It's
So I
amazing.
don't have to create separate projects for my school. My commissions, they become projects in my school. Sometimes I
Beautiful.
do small things for the school, which doesn't take
Hmm.
too long time
Hmm.
for me, like small acanthus sleeves and
Right.
small rosettes and so on.
Sure, sure.
So it's not a big deal for me. But most of it is just based on the real stuff. Okay.
Hmm.
As far as the teaching in person, I try to keep it like a minimum.
Yeah.
Okay. I am teaching in multiple schools,
Mm,
multiple times in Mark Adams School in Indianapolis.
mm,
In Maine, I'm going to be teaching this year.
mm,
I teach also in Tampa.
mm,
There's another school also, probably most likely going to go, but I don't know yet. It depends on the schedule and so on. But the school in person, it's only 1 week long. Okay.
mm,
And for
mm.
me, it's just like vacation. So I can take, vacation. It's not really vacation because, we're doing the real stuff. Let me
Right.
show you the last class we did. And maybe I can show it to you. Maybe yes, maybe no, if I'll find it right there. Okay. So
Oh,
that
beautiful.
is just a couple weeks ago, I came from Mark Adams. We
Ah,
did that project.
I
Okay.
can't see what is it an acanthus? It looks like a leafy
It's not a
forms.
canvas.
Uh-huh.
It's here. It's flowers.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Beautiful.
Let me show you from this
Hmm.
perspective right there.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
simple. It's just
Nice.
1 week long,
Right.
and most of the people never carved before. Okay.
Really. Do you like to teach in person?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I love. I just wish I do more teaching than commissions.
Right. Right. I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
Especially with the size and scope of commissions that you're making. I can't imagine, but I love the idea of teaching from the commissions that you're working on, especially when the commissions you're working on are of this caliber. I mean, to be able to observe that, to see, to have access to this content whenever people want. Truly, and I'm not a paid advertiser here, but that's that's
Oh yeah.
amazing. That's awesome. And what amazes me about it is, and I guess the Japanese, if they're doing print block carving, they will have a TV block, right? That
Mm-hmm.
so that they don't have to mess up their real work, for the TV or for the camera when they're
Mm-hmm.
demonstrating. How do you how do you not get distracted by the recording or the explanation, and still execute to the level of craftsmanship that you do execute? That to me is a huge feat, because most people can't do that.
That is true. It was hard for me too at the beginning.
Mhm.
But now, when I'm carving, I'm pretty much know there's thousands of people watching me pretty much
Right,
right away.
right,
And I have no problem with that.
right,
Okay. If I make mistake, I make mistake. Hey,
right,
I'll fix it. It's a real
right,
life.
right. That's true, and that becomes a part of the lesson in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Right.
people love it.
Yeah.
That I'm not perfect.
Right.
You know,
Right. Well, when
and
you
I'm
see
changing designs.
when you see someone's work, like when you see your work in particular, I can't even think of another artist. You just think this person, they're going in 3D modeling, and they've plotted every cut and path, every jot and tittle is predetermined. And you go in, and it's like, man, this guy is a robot. I cannot relate to that. For me, when I start a piece, I'm doing a rough sketch, and I'm maybe and I'm getting more refined in my sketches as time progresses. I'm using the iPad more often, and these are still two-dimensional models, but I'm veering from those drawings to some extent too.
Mhm.
But more and more, realizing the benefit of having a drawing, it's super important for especially big commission projects, because
Mhm.
if you have someone spending $10,000 on a carving, they don't want to just have you go on based on your imagination, right? It's like, so
Correct.
they want to know what product they're getting too. So, but
Uh,
it's amazing.
Absolutely right. Let me try to connect my iPad,
Mhm.
and I'll show to you how I use it for my projects.
But my larger point, while you're doing that, my larger point was, it's got to be nice to be watching you and see a pedal break off. I would get
Yep.
pleasure from that, because I'd go, okay, well, even Alex isn't he's not a robot. He's a real
Yep.
human being with hands that
Yep.
sometimes make mistakes. Do you
Yes, I
draw on the
do.
iPad? Do you draw on the iPad a lot?
Well, not a lot. Let me
Mm.
show you, for example, this thing.
Yeah.
Just a second. Okay. I'm not sure if you're able to see it or not.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
you are.
can.
So
Yeah.
right here's what I'm working on right now. So that is the
Mm.
thing. Okay. So
Wow.
that's what I'm working on. Okay. So what you see, that flower right here
Hmm.
and this one,
Yeah.
it's the thing. But there's a
Right.
lot more going on.
Wow.
Okay. And yeah, I model in, for example, that is just a 3D
Mm.
model. Okay.
Hmm.
But it's not the end result, but that's the idea.
Mm.
Okay. And what you see is just one of the sides right
Mm.
there.
Gosh.
That's what you see. Okay. And that's done partially in 3D.
Hmm.
I mean, modeling.
Yeah.
And what you saw, the feathers going on top
Mm.
of the crown molding. It's right there. And partially on computer, partially on my iPad. For example, if I need to
Right.
explain something,
Yeah.
like right here.
Right.
Okay.
You can just sketch right on it.
Yeah. And
Do you
I
ever
can
have
just
problems
do
with
that.
the clients saying, I don't want you to make this a part of your school, because this is my private work, or maybe the design firm more likely would be like, we don't want you sharing this. It's private.
Yes, but I don't accept those clients.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah. Before I take the project, and I'm getting emails daily. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a lot of requests, and I have some people waiting in for many years.
Mm.
And if they just, it used to be, okay, I couldn't even make a pictures
Mm.
because they just own it.
Right.
Okay. But before I take the project, I tell them I'm going to film it and I'm going to show that to my students,
Mhm.
because it's a dying art
Right.
and people just don't know how to do that stuff, and
Right.
you have to agree with that.
Right.
And we dance back and forth. Even with this project, we had some dancing. They said you can't show the whole project, you can show just the details, which is good enough for me, because most of the people in my school, they're not going to carve it,
Right.
but they're going to take, let's say, just small part,
Mhm.
and they can use it whatever,
Right.
like
Exactly.
make a mirror,
Right.
so on.
Yep. One element. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, just to have the sheer, patience to do it, it's astounding. Have you always liked to draw? Are because most carvers I meet, at least, they don't like drawing. They hate drawing, and a lot of them aren't very good at it. And you're an expert at drawing. When did you start drawing?
Well, every child is an artist, right? I started to draw probably same age as you.
Right. Right.
So you also probably drew when you were a child, right?
but it's a little different than the kind of drawings you probably did when you were a child.
I cut myself.
Yeah.
Just got some blood.
Did you draw, before you carved, or did you always draw before you carved, or did that come as a part of your apprenticeship?
No, I had to learn how to draw properly.
Yeah.
I am actually telling that story multiple times online. When I became apprentice with the master wood carver, the first lesson what he gave me, it was just designing or drawing for the wood carving. I would spend all day long, just drawing and drawing. At the end of the day, he would come to me, take a piece of paper, smash it, and just boom, and think, how are you going to carve it?
Right in the trash bin, huh?
Yeah, that's it, because it's a little different. It's a three-dimensional world.
Right.
So you can't do exactly the same as like 2D.
Is that a brass mallet?
This one is, but I shouldn't use it. Yeah. Let me brag about this mallet.
Wow.
It's a gorgeous one, right?
Beautiful.
Yep. I'm collecting from the famous people. I just brought it from Mark Adams' school, and whatever they have famous wood turners,
right?
They make mallet for me.
Can I take another look at that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful one.
That's stunning. Is that heavy enough?
It's heavy. It's about 25 ounces.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's fine.
This one is a 20. Okay. It's also a gift from one of the woodworkers. Really nice. It has a beautiful, just ring and so on.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't use them as as much. This is from famous Dr. Spolt. It's a real spalting.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. It looks fake. It looks like it was dyed that way.
No. It's a real spalting.
Unbelievable.
So, I love that. And I've got multiple. Whatever the famous guys, I probably got them.
Wow. So you collect mallets?
Yeah, I've got this one. Let me see. This one is from Israel. Avizera. He's one of the famous also wood turners. And he's got his own line of tools with Ashley Isles. Mm-hmm. That one is Michael Hasselek.
You're not kidding.
They're not all got a lot of looking good.
Yeah, you're using them, right? I mean, look at mine. Lignum vitae, and it's it's pretty much beat to shreds.
Yeah, but I love this one.
That one's gorgeous. I wouldn't want to use it.
I don't use it. Okay, what I use, it's just that nasty looking one.
Yeah.
That's what I use.
Protects the handles, right?
Yep, protects everything and doesn't produce as much noise.
Right.
That is what I use.
A friend of mine, when I was down in Nashville, was showing me a one that was made of leather, and I liked it so much he let me try it that I picked it up. It's weighted leather wrapped mallet. Yep. You ever use those?
Yes. Well, I don't use them,
Yeah.
but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
One of my students, they had that in the class,
Hmm.
and I love it.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yep.
I immediately lost it though. I don't know where the hell it went. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I lost it in transit back home, which I'm super bummed about because that thing was awesome. I absolutely
And it
loved it.
protects wood.
Right.
Oh, well, not wood. I'm sorry.
The handle, the wood of the handle.
Handles.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Wood of the handle.
Right, right. Absolutely, it does. Yeah, and that's a major concern when you're using tools and you're spending a bunch of money on them. You don't want them to bust.
We got the phone call.
Did I lose you?
Oh.
That's interesting. I got a new OS update from Mac, and so I guess apparently my I didn't have this turned off. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Can you hear me now?
I have that too all the time. Yes, I can hear you.
See if I lost the call or where the video went here.
No.
There it
It's
is.
just
Beautiful.
a notification, I guess.
It's my girlfriend. She's trying to FaceTime me. So do you wake up at 6 a.m. Do you drink coffee?
Well, no, I don't wake up 6 a.m. I
You're in
wake
the
up
shop
earlier.
Okay.
I'm in my shop by 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then when you're usually out of the shop by?
Well, I try to work till about 5, 6.
Okay.
Then I go to gym.
Oh, and you work out?
Yes, I do.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I find that it's, I feel healthier when I'm working out, and I feel like I'm better at carving. Like, at least it's a very physical job, carving is.
Well, it still doesn't burn enough calories and
Right.
doesn't build muscles.
Right. It's true. It's true. Yeah.
And especially my tools are super sharp.
Right. So you're not pushing
I don't put too much effort.
If you're getting ripped from carving wood, you probably need to sharpen your tools better. You need to invest in a better system or a better strategy for sharpening, right?
Yeah, when I wake up, I drink coffee, read my Bible, then I walk, just about like half an hour, 40 minutes, take a morning walk outside, and then I come to my shop, which is part of my house now.
Oh, good. So you just walk right into your shop from your house? Yep.
Well, it's actually right in my house.
That's connected. Okay.
Well, it's actually not that. Okay. I downsized. I had a big shop. Okay. I had huge 5,000 square feet.
Holy
with
cow.
Big machinery and so on. Just about 5 years ago. I'm not only wood carver. I did high-end cabinetry and so on. And I even built homes before. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. And I tired of it. And I sold all my equipment and moved to my garage. That was first. Then I found out Florida gets hot. I moved to dining room. Okay. Then we downsized the house and we built just a townhome. All right. Which is 3-story. And on the first floor, we have a den, like library. Okay. And I moved my wood carving shop to the den. So that's why I have multiple windows. I've got the window behind me. I've got another window right there. All the light, whatever I need. I've got 1,000 tools fit right here. I've got one of the band saws. I've got scroll saw, and I've got 2 more band saws in garage and all the heavy equipment right there. Okay.
That's great. You don't need a ton of room to carve, do you? Even these larger pieces. Right.
Nope.
Yeah.
All I need is about, I mean, if I can carve 10, 12 feet and just rotate that, I'm okay with that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you don't. And I feel home all the time. You know, my wife can come to me. My children can come. My granddaughter can come.
It's
you know, and
awesome.
that's why I love what I do.
Oh, for sure.
So I don't need to be away anymore.
Yeah, I did the same. I was working in a giant shop as well, and and I was um working in a not quite as big, but 2,500 square foot in
Hmm.
Detroit, in downtown, in an old manufacturing building. And man, that was a scary place to work. There were, I mean, you hear gunshots, and I've seen police chases and
In
guys run out
Detroit?
of cars. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I know that place.
yeah, guys run out of cars and chased by the police, and tackling them to the ground. Gunshots, hitting, sound of gunshots hitting cars and all of it. It's like that's pretty scary for a country boy who was born, and who was raised in the middle of the sticks and nowhere. So grew up
Hmm.
in Leonard, which is 10 acres. You couldn't see your neighbors, hardly met your neighbors, and so moving from there to Detroit was it was a big change. But man, I built this studio. It's just it's a 12 feet by 16 feet. It's where I'm at right now, and
Hmm.
it's all of what I need, really. And like you say, if I was building furniture or larger stuff, you need a lot more space.
Right.
But now you're just focused on carving. That's great.
Yeah. So that's what you do, just the carving right now?
Yeah, I teach, some this year, of course, because of COVID, or last year, I didn't do any real art shows, but usually I'll do between 4 and 5 art shows. But the workshops are ramping up, so I do less of the workshops and more of less of the art shows and more of these classes, traveling to
Hmm.
teach. And so I think, but before COVID, I probably did 8 or 9 workshops around the Midwest, and I did probably 4 or 5 art shows, and then
Hmm.
in between that is commission work.
Okay.
So just people at art shows come along and they say, hey, I'd like, can you carve a dog? And I'd say no, but they'd be like, can you carve my grandpa? And I'd be like, sure. That's more,
Hmm.
you just kind of curate the commissions that you want and the ones you don't want, and you do the best you can with the commission work. But I found that it was really even more lucrative for me to just make my own stuff and then bring it to art shows and sell it there, because I didn't have to work with the client and go back and forth. But because of COVID, I'm back to just mostly commission work now. And so it's kind of a different
What type
world.
of carving you do?
I do a lot of relief carving, but it's focused on the human
Okay.
face.
Human
Um,
face. Yep.
yeah. So I don't, you know, I'm not doing anything anywhere near the complexity of what you're doing. So much simpler, mostly like single figure, or maybe, if there's any, leaf work or what have you, it's surrounding, encasing these small reliefs. The biggest stuff I've worked in lately is these big busts that I did when I was in Kentucky visiting Abby Peterson. He's a chainsaw carver. He's he can knock out a carving in about an hour with a chainsaw. It's like about 2 or 2.5 times life size. And so he roughed out this piece for me, 2 pieces
Hmm.
in an hour. We filmed it and put it on YouTube. Pretty
Hmm.
cool. And I hand carved the face on it, and I've got 2 of these giant things standing right behind me. But
Uh,
I don't really work in that large of scale. Mostly I just work in smaller works or smaller sizes. So
okay. So that's what you're planning to do pretty much all your life, huh?
yeah, I mean, that's the yeah, that. And we're also working on a carving school, and it's what drew me to you and your work, because I actually saw your school before I saw your work, and I looked into it, and then I saw your work, and I was like, this is unbelievable. This is this guy Grinling Gibbings incarnate. And so, but yeah, that they're just basically teaching the carving school, Bridges, which is not yet out yet, but and traveling and teaching. That's kind of the name of the game for me right now.
Are you still staying in Detroit?
I'm north of Detroit now. I'm about 50 minutes. I live next to a little lake here, and it's kind of a little log cabin community that was developed in the 1920s. And so people would vacation from Detroit out into the boondocks, and they'd build these little cabins. Some of them are 700 square feet. Some of them are 1,500 or 1,600 square feet, but most of them are smaller, and they're just gathering around one half of this small lake. It's got to be, it can't be more than 150 acre lake, if that. So
my first state was Michigan.
Really?
Yep. I used to live in Grand Rapids.
Did you really?
Yeah, and then I moved to Elkhart, Indiana.
Okay.
For 9 years.
How long were you in Grand Rapids for?
Like a year.
Okay. And then
about a year.
Okay.
And then I moved to Indiana.
What brought you to Indiana?
There's a few different reasons.
Yeah.
First of all, in Grand Rapids, I couldn't find any good job.
Right.
So it's not, I couldn't find good paying job.
Right.
I was able to find a job.
Right.
But I couldn't, live on $10 an hour. Sorry.
Yeah, no way. Right.
So, and in Indiana, I started pretty much right away business. So it was much better for me.
Right.
Then I moved to Florida after 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You've got some intense heat there. Where about in Florida are you?
South Florida.
Oh, okay. Oh,
About
wow.
10 minutes from Trump.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So what is it like, 90 out right now?
I don't know. Let me check. 79.
79. Okay.
Yeah, 79.
That's actually,
it's not bad.
That's actually our high today. We're supposed to get up to
Okay.
79.
See?
So there you go.
I don't know. Can you see it? 79.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. I was wondering how you got to it so quickly.
Yeah.
So how do you sort of move through your forms, kind of define the block in areas from the drawing then?
No, for example, I don't need to do anything, special design. I've done so many, acanthuses.
Right.
I know how it's supposed to look.
Right.
After thousands of them, they're all the same.
And so the drawing isn't for you, it's for the client, right? So they know what they're
pretty
getting.
much.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, for me also, to a certain degree.
Sure. Helps you organize it at least, right?
Yeah. But like main movements and so on, for me, like it's easy to figure out without any drawings.
Right.
Obviously, what you see is not clean yet, because I need to clean it, and make it look nice.
Sure.
And so on.
You don't sand your work, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I could, but I found that's not the easiest way. Okay, because you have to clean it for a long time.
Right.
It doesn't make it easy. Just the last year, I bought my first rasps. Okay. I never used any rasps, but I felt like it's faking. But I bought some rasps. For example, this project is going to be paint grade. And I can easily just to take a rasp, take a look how it's going to quickly form my acanthus. Let me get you a little closer. And you will see it's actually almost perfect form already. And like I said, that project is going to be paint grade. It's going to be painted, chalk paint.
I see.
So I don't really worry about
the finish, right?
Well, I still gonna clean it,
right?
With the gouges and so on.
Sure.
But I don't do that, all over.
Mm-hmm.
Just to show you.
Right.
So that is my.
Wow, it really does remove material quickly.
Yeah.
It takes it right off.
Take some ridges, yeah. Really quickly.
Wow.
And you can see it's already gives the shape.
Yeah. Wow. That must be that must be an aggressive riffler or rasp.
No, it's not.
No.
No, I was really close to the finish.
Oh, okay.
So there was I didn't make any big faucets.
Wow.
Just rising right on top of it. So even finishes is not bad.
Have you ever done any power carving at all? Have you ever taken it up?
Well, of course, I've got a couple, whatever the power carvers, but I don't use them.
Right.
Too much dust.
Yeah, I hate the dust. That's the thing that bothers me too.
And also, there's a lot of limitations. With the hand tools, there's no limit. With the power carver, with the beads, you can't get to certain areas. I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
I'm sure you know.
Yeah, well, there's that, and then it's just the dust. I can't. It's not good for to breathe that in. With the carving, the chips that you're making they're large. You're not going to breathe those in.
Yep. But see how it forms.
Right.
Quickly.
Right.
I still don't use them. I feel like it's, like I said, it's fake.
But most people they feel like they're faking it if they're, using CNC and finishing by hand. But Alex is, he thinks using a rasp is fake. That's next level commitment to the craft. I mean, so many folks are just trying to do whatever it is to make it go by as quickly as possible.
Yep.
And the hand carvers, like people like you are you don't think that way. It's about the craftsmanship.
Yep.
Are your clients good? Do you have a relationship with the people, or are you mostly working with the designers in this case?
Well, the level of clients I have.
Yeah.
Most of them I even didn't meet in person. Some of them I met, but most of them not.
Right.
I even sometimes don't know the name. Okay, because it's so hidden. Yeah. For example, the client for this project, I didn't know his name until we signed the contract. And he's overseas. They had to fly here to my house, a project manager, and he came from overseas.
Wow. Checked
all the cameras, checked all the devices. If there's no cameras on, no phones on, and so on. Yep. We sat on the couch, and he opened just a folder, and he said, "Read it." Okay, and I couldn't even pronounce, his name out loud. And then I had to agree never to mention his name to even my family. Okay?
What? Wow.
But I can't tell you the name.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So he
but
came
some
down.
of them I met, yes.
Yeah, right. I mean, we're talking about the wealthiest people in the world. I mean, well, it makes sense. I mean, to do what you're doing, to work, the hours that you're working on the projects, to the level that you're working on these projects requires, so much invested time. You'd have to ask an extraordinary amount of money for it to be worth your while. And so you're going to get, only the highest class of people even looking at your work, right? And that's ultimately what artists want to do. They want to get to that point where they can, I mean, personally, I'd love to get to the point where all of my clientele were just, the very upper echelon, because that means that you can really focus on making your work fantastic instead of trying to create a quantity of work like a lot of artists are trying to do. They
Yep.
create as much as possible, and to get it out, at a fair price. Most of us fantasize about the life that you have, where you can actually focus on, these masterworks, and you can get compensated for them, because these are people who money is not a limitation.
Yeah. I was reading about Picasso.
Mhm.
Okay. And you know the Picasso, right?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. And he would get a cup of coffee while he was alive for his work. Okay. And that's not right. The same work, what he was just paid the cup of coffee, was sold millions of dollars after he died.
Right.
And that's not right. And I made the decision, hey, I don't want to wait when I'm gonna die. My work gonna be that. Right?
Right.
So I decided to charge. That's it. Whatever I feel comfortable. If they not agree with that, go ahead and find somebody else.
Somebody else to do your master carving.
That's it. And there's a lot of stupid people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
sure.
even architects.
Oh.
I had like an email a few years ago, maybe a couple years ago, and that email was about mental. Okay, I had to just do like a 17th century or 18th century mantle. And architects said they tried to find really good craftsmen who's actually able to do that, and they couldn't. And I said, yeah, absolutely, I can do that. Okay. They asked me for the estimation. I gave them realistic price for the half of a year of work.
Right. 6 months.
Yeah. And I got email back, and they said, wow, it's too much. We've got only in a budget like a couple thousand. Oh. And I said, go ahead and work for a couple thousands for half a year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Where do they think you live? Where cost of living is $4,000 a year.
That's the thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The ignorance of some people blows my mind.
They just don't know.
Yeah.
It's and the wood carving, it's the most expensive trade in woodworking. I can build a lot of kitchens.
Right.
Just in a half a year.
Right.
And make a lot more money.
Right.
Than I can carve.
Right. Right.
So they have to understand the difference between me and a wood carver in 17th and 18th century.
Yeah.
It's just who's better. But the tools are the same. Thought process is the same. Pretty much everything is the same.
Right.
Like I said, the only difference is who's better.
Right. Right. Right.
Just labor intense. And you wood carver, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure. I do to an extent, but I almost hesitate to say I really fully understand, because you're working to a level that is just extraordinary, and you're meeting people, and I've started to meet people and do work for we'll say people who have in excess of $1 billion, billionaires, and they think differently about money, but what I've noticed is they're not necessarily easy, quick to let go of their money either. So that was shocking to me. I worked with a client who was very skeptical of my assessment, but also once I explained to him what my pricing, how I achieved my pricing, I was really honest with him about how I came up with it. He was so willing and generous to, he found out that I was buying a house, and he said that he would pay me 100% of the commission project up front so I could put a down payment on the house. I mean, so people can be really generous, and but they're not just going to blindly sign a check. They want to look through and understand the commission, so, like where
Yep.
you're getting the pricing. So, but I cannot imagine, someone flying in from out of the country and checking all your camera equipment and
Yep.
That's an
Just
incredible.
make sure nobody's listening.
Right. Yeah. And were they difficult to work with, or was it just sort of hands off once that guy left?
No. It's actually easier.
Hmm.
It's the most easiest project for me, I would say.
Was it a big carving?
It is. It's the whole room.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Amazing.
And for example, those lines,
yeah,
which you saw, I carved them for Arizona iced tea founder.
Oh, wow.
I've got, let me show it to you, another one. Just a second. That relief carving.
Oh,
Okay.
that's awesome.
It's 18 inches, just a round carving.
Right.
And it's applied above the hood. It's actually on the hood in the kitchen.
Okay.
But the guy he's the owner of Piro Farms. It's the biggest farmer in the United States.
Wow.
Whatever the food store you go, Costco, Walmart, Meyer if you live up north.
Yeah.
Or Kroger. So you can find his products and so on. I've got some work for Michael Kors library from the family of Johnson and Johnson. I'm not going to tell you who exactly, but some of the names you probably even don't know. Yeah. But those are not just billionaires.
This is a wealth class that they wouldn't bat an eye at a price. So when you're working with these people of this caliber, you're working with designers, and the designers kind of act on behalf of those people, right? So what is that process like? Because I've only once worked with a designer, because I very seldom have done architectural work, and it was a horrible process. This particular person had the ego, had an ego the size of a house, and it was
they all have.
Yeah,
especially the biggest designer you work with.
Yeah,
they know all.
Right.
Sure. And when I start, my process, I ask them, have they ever carved anything? Okay.
I love it.
Or did they work before with any wood carvers?
Right.
The real wood carvers.
Right.
And usually the answer is no.
Right.
And I said, that's good. I'm going to help you the best of my ability.
Right.
So just let me help. If you don't understand something, I'll explain.
I love that. Well, you have to have that sort of confidence and that assertion, to deal with people with that sort of, ego. I can't do it. I feel like I've only done it once, and it's just like, I couldn't deal, man. I was like, I don't know how to deal with this person. I mean, it was a phone call, and the lady, was like, hi, who is this? And I'm like, Alec LaCasse. And she was like, okay, are you the architect? I'm like, no. She's like, okay, are you involved with the project? And I'm like, yes. She's like, okay, what are you doing? Sculptor, carving, wood carving. She was like, okay, well, I've just got so much on my plate right now. Do you have the designs? No, it's just, I mean, she barely, she would call me. She called me multiple times, had no idea who I was, and absolutely no patience whatsoever for the process. And it was, I mean, I won't go into depth to badmouth this woman, not that anyone would know who she was. Sure. But, she was some fancy person whose father owns such and such museum. And it was just, the first thing out of her mouth was, who she was, her caste, basically where she comes from. And so I know how big of a deal she is. And it made the whole process not easier, but just harder. So I think it's good to establish. Yeah. I mean, you understand. So I could probably learn a thing or two from just, standing up for myself and saying, hey, are you a wood carver? I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, it's like,
well, well, first of all, like I said, I'm getting emails daily.
Yeah.
And usually you can already figure out by email who's who.
Right.
Right. And sometimes it's a good idea to just write back email with intent to just say no.
Right.
Okay. And yes, it's honestly, I've got a lot of people, they actually waiting on me. And if I see the project worth it to pay attention, I usually send them back email. Hey, I'm super busy. Are you willing to wait?
Right.
And if they're impatient, so they just walk away.
Right.
Okay. If they're patient, they said, yes, absolutely, we can wait.
Right.
Number two, give me the idea, the scope,
Right.
how large carving is going to be. And once they give it to me, I figure out approximately how long it's going to take, how much you're going to charge, and I add on top of it, just because they always dance.
Right.
Doesn't matter how expensive guy is or girl is.
Right.
They still dance.
Right.
Okay? Back and forth.
Sure.
And by the first impression on estimation, if it's worth it or not to work with the guy.
Right.
Okay. If he's saying it's too much, I said, go ahead and find somebody else cheaper. You can always find cheaper.
Right.
So,
right.
But usually they don't.
Right.
Okay. Because it's not too many people. Okay. Honestly, not too many people who is actually carving.
Oh, no.
And they saying, for example, I was just estimating one of the projects. It's located in what's the most expensive place in California, by the Hollywood. But anyway, all the actors and the richest people live in that subdivision.
Sure.
Okay? Right in that town and in that subdivision.
Sure.
Just a lot of land, $50 million. Okay, just a lot.
Right.
To build a house on. Okay, I gave them estimation for that fireplace. That was just long, big, like 12 feet long. And I've got email back. Client doesn't want to pay that. It doesn't matter if he doesn't want to pay that. It's just how much it costs.
Right.
When you walk in a store, and if there's a bread, $3, and if I'm a client, I can just take that bread and come to, whatever, the clerk, and say, hey, I'm not willing to pay that for bread. I want to pay only 25 cents.
Right.
Good luck. Doesn't matter how much you will. I mean, how much you're willing to pay.
Sure.
So there's a reality, how much it costs.
Right. Right.
And how much you value. For me, it's better to find the one good client, and I can work multi-year on one project, than just the small, tiny guys who don't want to pay.
Right.
And it's hard to get at the end money, even if they pay, but it takes a long time to get the money from them.
Sure. Right.
And of course, I had those two before.
Sure.
So like probably everybody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. We all experience that. Working with clients that they're on a budget and they're trying to get it, squeeze everything out of you they can. And this certainly isn't fun. Yeah. No, it's an interesting life doing this for a living. It's not everyone's path, that's for sure. I think people imagine, when you do something like, what we do, carving for a living, that it's, some people think, wow, it must be nice not to have to work a 9 to 5. But the reality often is, for people that carve, not only are you working 9 to 5, but you're working after hours. In your case, you have a school, and I do as well. We're editing video. We're we're not really fully escaping our work in the same way that maybe someone with a 9 to 5 would. So it's by no means am I complaining. I wouldn't trade this in for the world. I absolutely wouldn't. But it is a whole nother thing altogether. But it's a creative life, and I think probably there's nothing better in the world, no better feeling than feeling like you've created something. Just in general, like I can't think of a better feeling than just finishing up a project and feeling like proud of that work that you made, or putting something into the world that didn't exist before. It's a fantastic and worthwhile thing, and many people don't experience that on a daily basis with their work, and that is something that we get to do.
Yep.
This is fantastic.
It's actually sometimes you don't even feel that you're working.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like feel like it's faking.
Right.
Because
right.
you really enjoy that.
Right. It's
Even
true.
if you get tired.
Yeah. Yeah. I had that realization a couple of weeks ago. It was like, I was in my head, I was having some sort of internal monologue. I was like arguing with myself and getting upset at myself for having these, I have to go do this, and then I have to go over here and record this. And then all at once I realized, but wait, that's my job.
Yeah.
And that sudden realization that all of those things that I quote unquote had to do, that was actually, my job. It blew my mind that I was so blessed to get to do those things for work. They sound like, on paper, they sound like things that you would do for a hobby, right? I mean, it's like, oh, I have to make a video, and oh, I have to make this wood carving. It's like, are you serious? That's how could you possibly think negative thoughts about what you do? And that it's like they have to have that self-talk and remind yourself how lucky you are to be able to do what you do for a living. It's amazing. It's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you listen to music when you carve?
I don't have a chance because I'm filming.
Right. Yeah. So the percentage wise, how often do you think you're filming your carvings? Is it majority of them?
Yes, most of them right now.
Okay. Wow.
But not, for example, I'm not filming this part.
Right.
Because if you look on another side,
yeah,
I'm not sure you're not going to be able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But right there, it's exactly the same detail, just a flip-flop.
I see.
So I filmed another side, that side, and this side I'm not filming.
Right. Okay? You don't have to be redundant there. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Understood.
But sometimes what I do, I film anyway.
Yeah.
If they want to watch it, just without explanation.
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. How did you determine how to price? I mean, there aren't that many people doing what you do. How do you compare or understand what it is that your rates are? Do you try and go hourly, or do you just kind of go based on your experience with a particular project?
No, I never go hourly.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a big mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, it's not fair for you and for them.
Right.
You never know. Well, someday it just takes 1 hour to do just one detail, and you know that. And someday, just the whole day, just a small tiny spot.
Yes.
And we can't do that by the hour.
Right.
So I do by the square inch.
Mm-hmm.
And how deep, how many, for example, I've got the chunk right here. So it's a 2 inches high, which means I'm going to estimate that side, and that side. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to just get my square inches from all those 3 sides.
Right.
And how deep my carving is going to be, and approximately how long it's going to take, which sometimes it's hard to say. Mm-hmm. And multiply by the inches.
Sure.
Okay. That's it.
Right.
And I'm usually accurate with that.
That's good.
Yep.
Simple. It's like a painter.
Yep, you're right. But again, it depends on design.
Right.
If it's a simple for furniture, it's a little cheaper. If it's a more complicated stuff, it's a little more expensive. And so on. Plus, I will also add some extra, just in case if I miscalculate it.
Right.
And I've done it before. And that's a mistake.
For sure.
I don't want to repeat.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a necessary thing. I mean, it's not a good feeling to underprice something that takes months to finish. You feel like you're working for free at the end of it, right?
Well, I've done it.
Yeah.
I know how it feels.
Right.
I've done it. I absolutely don't want to do that.
Fantastic. Well, to finish up, usually I ask a few rapid fire questions, and if you're ready for those, I'll go ahead and ask away. The answers don't have to be rapid answers, but the questions are pretty simple and straightforward. So the first is, if you could tell your 25-year-old or give your 25-year-old self any piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, it's not an easy question.
Yeah.
It's hard. When I was 25 years old, I had a bigger company with multiple employees, and we did everything. Okay. I was building homes, so we did all the mill work, we did all the cabinets, we did pretty much multiple people working in multiple places in 3 states.
Wow.
Okay, you can imagine that. And I had lots of responsibilities for many years. All the payroll, all the licensing, and so on. Okay. But at the end of a day, I would still get paid about the same. Now, if I would go back, I would not start my businesses, even if we became one of the best up north. By the way, I had picture of a newspaper. Hold on just a second. I think I do have a newspaper picture right there. It's 1998. Can you see that? And we became one of the best ones up north, Indiana, Michigan, and Illinois. Okay. So we did all that stuff. All right. If I would go back, I wouldn't do it anymore. Now, a few years ago, when I had a bigger shop, one of the famous woodworkers, and I know him for like 25 years, he has 120 square feet shop in North Carolina, plus multiple shops all over the United States, and also in Dubai. And he came to my shop and he said, don't make mistake I made. Okay. It's just like you wasting your time. How many years you have, left, productive years. So, and I was about 42 or something. And he said, maybe about 20, 25. You really want to spend your time here in your shop and just doing those cabinets and so on. And that was a point when I decided to sell everything. But if I would be 25 years old, I wouldn't even start. I would just concentrate only on what I love. And I love carving. Okay, that's what I would just do without building houses, without doing cabinet works and so on. And so on. So that was number one. Right?
Wow.
Hope it helps.
That's great. That's a great answer.
And it's honest answer.
Right.
Of course, I carved, don't get me wrong.
Right.
My employees would do other stuff and I would carve.
Sure. Right.
but it wasn't the main source of my income.
Right. So what is an uncommon belief that you hold that not many people do?
Well, try to explain that question, because
Yeah, it's kind of a
about
hard one.
what?
Yeah, it's kind of vague, but it's kind of intentionally vague. It could be about your work and the way that you approach carving. It could be about your business and a belief that you hold in your work, or the way that you express your company or your
Okay.
companies.
Okay, I can tell you.
Mhm.
Two famous wood carvers in the history.
Mm.
One of them, of course, Gibbons, and before him, 15th century Tilman Riemenschneider. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him or not.
What was
German
his
one.
name?
Tilman Riemenschneider.
No, I'm not. I'll have to write it down.
Okay, he is one of the famous wood carvers in 15th century in Germany before Reformation.
Mm.
Okay, they both really high professional level wood carvers. I mean, they died, of course, but achieved height. But the
Right.
philosophy was different. If you look at Gibbons' work, you look on the back side, it's really choppy. You know, he just chop, and installed that and got paid.
This is what I've heard.
Yeah, and Riemenschneider was working even on the back side and made it to the perfection. And people asked him, why would you do that? I mean, nobody's gonna see it. And he would answer, well, people not, but God will.
Mm.
So that is probably my philosophy also.
Wow.
I like to see on the back side perfect, maybe balanced. Okay, sometimes more choppy, sometimes less choppy. Okay, but that's what I'm trying to get. Okay.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I hesitate to ask this next question because it's kind of lacking in depth. But what is your favorite pizza topping?
I don't eat pizza.
There you go. I knew we would get that answer at some point. You're the first one to not have pizza. Do you have, adhere to a particular diet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, first of all, when I was in jail, it was only one potato a day. Okay. But I came out really skinny. I mean, so skinny. I don't know. I was less than 100 pounds.
Wow.
So literally just the bones and the skin. Talking about high carbs.
Right.
All right. So now I try to, it's not the diet, it's a lifestyle. For example, I don't eat pork. I don't eat shellfish. Okay. I don't eat lots of carbs. Yeah, I do eat carbs, but I don't eat pizza. I don't eat donuts.
Right.
Maybe once in a while, like once a year, I can eat a donut or so, just because my wife made me.
Right.
But I don't do that. I don't use sugar. What else? Everything else, high protein. That's it.
Right. It's good.
I don't know how it's not even diet. It's just a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. It's great.
Yeah.
What is a time, and this is usually our last question, and it doesn't have to be the hardest you've ever laughed, but what's a time that you've laughed really hard?
You're talking about laughing?
Yeah. What's a time in your life where you just laughed so hard?
Every day. I laugh every day.
That's great.
Yesterday, when my granddaughter says something funny.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
no, I'm really happy person, And if you be in my class, like in Mark Adams school, I have to hold myself from jokes,
Right.
because I'm joking all the time.
You and me
Yeah.
are the same in that regard. That's beautiful. Well, Alex, this has been great. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah. Now, we appreciate your time. I don't want to hold you up. I want you to be able to finish that commission for your clients. It sounds like you have a lot to get done. But I just appreciate you taking the time to do it. And folks can check out your school. What is the web address for that?
Schoolofwoodcarving.com.
Schoolofwoodcarving.com.
Easy.
Alex,
School of Wood Carving. That's
you
it.
were the man. Thank you so much for doing this. It was really cool to meet you and see your work. And it's awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It was really nice talking to you. There's blessings to you and your business and the podcast. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, man.
That was so good.